Today is Saturday, March 23rd, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 46, Week 4.
2 shows a week. We got a recap on Wednesday and then the listener feedback show on Saturday. That's when we turn it over to actual, real superfans of Survivor. Making a point there.
I got it.
Yes, and we got quite a bit of feedback. How many folks checked in this week?
24.
24 folks had something to say about this week's episode, season as a whole, and hopefully where we're going after this.
All right, let's hear what Pete has to say.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Banner's God. Woo! Woo! I'm going to let out a great hysterical woo! And yes, we know the helpless purple team lost once again. The outcome was clearly predictable as can be because they all had their minds made up even before they lost the challenge that they had to let Banu go, which was a huge wise decision. But nevertheless, this was a very good episode. Some may not have liked it. I thought Banu's story at the end at that tribal before Probe snuffed the torch was very good. How hard he had it early in life, but they had to let him go. I mean, the guy wasn't trustworthy. Nothing was going to work with Banu. Kenzie tried a little bit. Tiffany wanted nothing to do with him, but I like that she was honest with him at the end, saying she was going to vote him out. They had to do it, guys. What did he offer? He claimed he watched every season, which I don't know, but he knew nothing how to play the game, not much about the strategy, too. And the challenges he wouldn't have done good at either. So they made the right choice. So we're down to the Q, Kenzie, and Tiffany. Looks like there's no tribe swap, so I'm praying, fingers crossed, they could win a challenge and not have to go to tribal and get Matt singed or oolonged, any of that. Green team, if they lose, DC and Joanne, I think you got your girl Gem. I like that thing with the beware advantage, how she had everyone scrambling, but I don't know, we'll see now. Tim, based on the next on, might be on to her. So if they somehow go to tribal, you might see a showdown with your girl Gem and Tim. But you got Charlie's Angels in between there, Maria, and I want to see what Ben's strategy is, because the extra clips, he's not talking any strategy. And Orange, too, now. Looks like Tevin was going to blindside Soda if they lose and spare Venus, because he doesn't trust Soda with her social game. So it looks like Venus might be working her way up in the ranks there without her boy Randon. And I love Hunter. That guy is a true warrior. And it's good that if he stays close to Tevin, that could be a shield for both of them. That could be quite a duo with a swap and definitely a merge, I think, too. And good on Mariah for overcoming her heights there. And I guess Liz, Moneymaker Liz, Randon was right, I guess. She's sitting pretty now. Looks like she's flying under the radar from what the edit is showing us. So we'll see, guys. But I hope those purple can win. I'm glad they won a reward challenge. They won one challenge, but I hope they can win an immunity challenge, though, because I really love those three, and that they make it deep in the merge, too. All right, time to see what Banu says. We'll see what the extra clips are, what we didn't get to see, but there won't be any boring cream meal stuff, because we saw them in the episode. All right, take care, guys. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Banu was essentially unrepentant from my perspective in his interviews. He's still banging the same drums. And what I wish they had taken the time to show was that clip from Tim. That extra clip from Tim, the deleted scene about being homesick.
Very much.
Yeah, that I liked.
That was authentic.
Yeah. That I would have been fine with that. And even the one with Ben out fishing, since they didn't get any fish. And he's using the Hawaiian sling and providing some minnows so they can get a taste of fish. All right. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Doreese in Utah.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is my first listener feedback since Heroes versus Villains,
Wow.
I think. So I'm overdue.
Yes.
I'm still liking my USBQ, though if the tribes don't get mixed up next week, Yanu will surely lose the immunity challenge, and he'll be the next to go. He just doesn't stand a chance against Kenzie and Tiffany. I agree. So, I hope everyone drops their buffs and they go to 2 tribes of 8 so he can build more alliances. Actually, there's not that many people left. I think it's only 14, so 2 tribes of 7. I'm liking Tevin more since he dialed back the exuberance he showed in his cast interviews. Hunter is an amazing challenge beast, and Mariah's jumping montage had me laughing out loud. That's it. Can't wait for next week's show. All right, thanks, Doreese. Welcome back. Up next, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I wasn't able to leave feedback last week as my family went away for March break on vacation. We toured our nation's capital, and then we went and visited Montreal. By the way, if you ever come to Canada looking for the most authentic poutine possible, you got to visit Old Montreal. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't leave feedback then because I didn't really have a lot of nice things to say about the episode. I think I actually enjoyed your guys' recap show a lot more than the episode itself. But for this episode, I have much more positive things to say. I love that they separated the reward and the immunity challenges. I felt like it just helped with the pacing of the episode. I felt kind of bad that Yanu won the fish in the reward challenge, but they wouldn't be able to easily cook them because they didn't have flint. I'll never support the idea of losing flint by default. I think concepts like that are better used sparingly to keep things interesting in the game. I was really happy to see Banu finally leave the game. He's a big crybaby. He got way too much screen time. And if he did indeed win 1,000,000 hearts, my heart was probably not one of them. But I was happy that I got a vote-off point on him, so farewell, Banu. The 4 players I'm really enjoying this game are Tiffany, Kenzie, Hunter, and Tevin. Hunter's going to have a really tough game post-merge. His skill set just makes him such a target. I think he'll play similar to Jonathan, where he might get far in the game, but he'll fall short of Final Tribal Council. He'll become the target, and then he'll win some immunity challenges, and then stay in the game, but eventually he'll get voted out. It's funny if you contrast players like Hunter and Tevin and Banu and Jelensky. It's just such different players, and it's clear which ones I'd rather see play the game. So for my predictions for next week, it's hard to know, depending on what they do with the tribes or if they do anything at all. I'm kind of going forward with the notion, as crazy it is, that they're just going to leave them as is, and if they do that, I think that if Yano loses, then Q's going to go home. I think Tiffany will keep Kenzie in the game because she's such a big target. If the other tribes lose, I have Tim or Venus, I think, maybe going home. So it's hard to say, and hopefully we'll learn soon whether or not they're going to do some sort of merge or splitting. I have a question for you guys, though. When it comes to these immunity challenges with the tribes, do you think that one person at the end of it should be able to win it for their tribe, or do you think each member should have to contribute? Because we saw in this week, I think it was Reward Challenge, where each of them had to throw a ring over top of the pole. But then we've also seen it where Hunter can come in at the end of the challenge and just beast mode it for his tribe and finish off and win it for them. And as entertaining as it is, and I like seeing it, I just wonder if that same notion of each member should have to contribute should be carried through the whole challenge. Obviously not if there's a puzzle component, you can't do that, but for throwing balls and rings and stuff. But anyway, that's it for me. I look forward to hearing from everyone else. You guys just take care.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. What do you think?
I kind of like it the way it is.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like that they have to do it to start with, and then anybody can do.
Mm-hmm. For the
You know,
hero
like
moment?
a lot of times they'll say, okay, everybody has to go through and do this. You have to do it once, and then you can choose who you want to go in for your tribe. Or
Are you talking
I
about
like
the
that,
end?
okay.
That's a hybrid from what he was saying, huh?
What?
That's a hybrid from what Robert was describing. Like this week's reward challenge, there was a stage in the challenge where everybody had to get a ring off. But
Yeah, I'm
then
aware.
at the end, one person could do it all. Are you saying at the end you'd make everybody do at least one and then one person
No,
could
I'm
finish it
not.
off? Oh, okay.
I'm saying I like it the way it was.
Just the way it was.
They made everybody participate, and then they let them decide who to have do the rest of it.
For the potential hero.
But I like that they had to do something, because that can trip them up. But I'm okay with it the way it is. But I understand what Robert's saying. Mm-hmm. And I'd probably be okay if they did that.
It would potentially...
I think it would be more frustrating.
It would potentially flip it around. Instead of hero moments, you might get more heel moments, like Maria had in the earlier portion of the challenge when she got stuck. Or in 44, when Carolyn couldn't even get past that. So they couldn't even go to the next stage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, mix it up, I guess. You don't have to do it the same way every time, but I really do end up enjoying the hero moments when you get someone who's just shows up and still dominates the way he did.
It's so amazing to watch.
And it's a risk that he's taking.
Yes.
Because that just instills fear in everyone else. It's like, how am I going to beat this guy when it goes individual?
And if you take it on, people expect you to be able to do it. If you volunteer for it.
Well, and if you do it once, can't you do that again for us so we don't have to go to tribal?
Yeah.
Come on.
So I do
door.
like that they mix it up. I'd rather not see it the exact same way every time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's all I got, Robert.
Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Lisa Rae in the UAE. Hi, everyone. It's been a while since I last wrote in, but I'm glad to be back. Glad to have you back. So instead of using my head's voice of reason to choose Banu as the vote out, I choose Soda because she's got a Goda. I was toying with a Yanu win, but then discounted it. However, when I finally remembered I wanted to change my vote out to Banu, it was too late. Insert whiny Banu voice. Did I do something wrong? Yes, I did. I'm now closer to the basement in the side challenge. I empathize with Banu's story, but I'm really tired of all the cringe-worthy moments of the last 3 episodes because of his lack of understanding of the game. Bless Q's heart for trying to coach Banu. I honestly don't think Kenzie snapped at Banu after he asked her to practice her role play immediately. She said that she wanted to enjoy the win for 5 minutes with no raised voice or vitriolic comments. Yet she still apologized. Maybe my understanding of snapping looks and sounds very different from others. Banu said in his pregame interviews that he can read people well. Where was that skill in this moment? Read the room, my friend. The kneeling and begging scene Banu had with Tiffany was honestly hard to watch, but I thought Tiffany dealt with it well. There's more to say about this, but I digress. I'm certain Banu's a lovely guy, but I was not sad to see him go. On another note, I'm unsure about Jim's move of rehiding the Beware advantage. At first, it had me giggling, but then I thought that rehiding the clue just highlighted the fact that the advantage was already found. The tribe practically dug up the tree. Are they still digging? It will heighten suspicion in the tribe and may backfire on Jim. That remains to be seen. Okay, speaking of that, I saw a very funny note from Carla. You remember Carla from 43? Mm-hmm. She said the place where they were digging was their tribe's Coconut Grove. Do you remember what Coconut Grove is code
where
for?
Where they went to the bathroom. Yep.
Yeah. So
I do remember that.
Mm-hmm. That was an interesting little tidbit she dropped. On a sentimental note, I was touched by Tevin's story about his dad when he was cleaning the fish. Having lost my dad, I understand how important and meaningful it can be to honor my dad in small ways in my life. What will happen next week? I really don't know. I'm hoping to hear Drop Your Buffs. Thank you all. I am a faithful listener and supporter of this podcast. It has been a massive encouragement to me through a difficult time. I always listen to your insightful thoughts and opinions. Many times I see a different aspect to the game or players because of what you say. I'm especially looking forward to your thoughts this week. I'm a big shoulder shrug as to what will happen next. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Lisa Rae. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California. let's focus on the good things that happened this week. I got a vote off point, and I got friends with me in the basement. Hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Drew. Hi, Justin. It's really good to have you guys down here. It's not so cold and lonely. I had a wonderful time watching Jem, our USB, seeing how much she enjoys playing the game of Survivor. I really enjoy her. I really enjoy her very, very much. I find her very smart. Like both of you, I hope she's not overdoing it, but I think she's going to be okay. I think she's going to use it to cause a little dissension in her tribe and put some targets on some other people and make some inroads with alliances. I think she's playing a very smart game. Like Dee last season, I think she's on a great tribe. It was really fun to watch that last year, and I really thought it helped solidify Dee's win. She had great people and a great tribe behind her, and it's really the luck of the draw if that happens for you. So those were the good things. I'm glad Banu left. I have really conflicting feelings about him. I think he was completely miscast, and I think he was cast for completely the wrong reasons. I listened to the On Fire podcast, I listened to the Rob Sesternino podcast, and Jeff Probst feels like he was the best thing to ever be cast on Survivor ever because he was so authentic and so emotional, and it told this amazing human story. And I was listening to it going, yeah, but that's not why, at least I don't think it's why the majority of people are watching the show. We're watching it because it's an amazing game, not because it's a feel-good talk show to hear about everyone's emotional journeys. I don't know, maybe I'm completely cynical, but I feel like he presented himself as this compelling emotional character and then overacted and just overplayed so much, not with strategy, just pandering to the camera, and I didn't enjoy it. I found it to almost be a little insulting that the audience could buy this. It was like Banu was when Survivor jumped the shark. It was too much for me, and that amount of focus on somebody who was voted off fourth, I just don't understand it. There's been a lot of chatter about it, and I really appreciate everybody's comments on our Facebook page, from those who thought he was fantastic to those who thought it was an incredible production casting misstep and the editing was also a mistake. I'm one of those people. I don't like the look at this huge TV moment and this incredible emotional landscape I'm painting with the music and this man crying. I don't buy it. It is a rainy evening here in Northern California. I've got a big pot of chicken bone broth soup on the stove, which I'm going to put into jars, which I'm going to put in my freezer and slowly eat over the next week. I hope everybody has a lovely weekend wherever they are. I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. And thank you, Joanne and Stacy.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee.
Joanne and Stacy, near the end of the episode, Banu said, I realize that honesty has no meaning in this game. Well, duh.
Well said, Ed.
Banu may be seeking to win 1 million hearts, but he didn't win my heart.
Or ours.
No. Banu has accomplished a lot in his life for which he should be proud of and commended for. But he should not be commended for playing the fool in front of millions on national TV.
Amen.
There have been a number of Survivor contestants who have won the hearts of millions, but they played the game. Rudy Bosch, for example, is arguably the most beloved player in the history of the show. Rudy played an honest game and was not a great strategist, but unlike Banu, Rudy knew, to use Rudy's words, how to keep his yap shut. I loved him.
Yeah.
For Banu to sell out his tribe mates and to then get on his knees and beg not to be voted out is unintelligible. Banu suffers from an oral diarrhea, and that is an ailment for which Dr. Will does not have a cure.
That's good.
Stacy noted that even if I have seen if you have seen every episode, it does not mean you understand the game or remotely know how to play the game, to which I reply that one does not have to watch many episodes of Survivor to learn what not to do.
That is so succinct.
Bingo.
Yeah, that I like that.
Yep. Absolutely. That's a twist on the perspective.
That's a nice rephrasing of it, and shorter and succinct. And there's lots of castaways in Survivor's history who came on and tried to play doing the air quotes, honest game and play with integrity, and they've all been flayed each and every time they did.
Okay, but don't bring up Lil again.
Okay,
back to Ed. Q, Kinsey, and Tiffany are solid players, but it's a shame that they got paired up with not one, not two, but three of the worst players in recent history. Mm-hmm. It is unfair to them that production casted this tribe as such. I also find it sadistic to allow a tribe to go 4 episodes without Flint. Jeff should have at least allowed Yanu to borrow the Flint so they could cook their well-earned meal. Depriving them of Flint for so long weakens the tribe and destroys the competitive balance of the game.
I like that.
Again, well said.
Yeah, excellent summarizations there, Ed. And I think he's onto something. Maybe when you get a food reward like that requires cooking, maybe they could give you a fire that you could cook with, and then it's on you whether or not you could sustain it after that.
Yeah, or they could put it out after.
They could show up and put it out.
Yes, they could.
That would be a great moment to have Probst come in and go,
make fire. They could say, okay, you can have the fire long enough to cook your reward. That's part of your reward. Mm-hmm. And then we put the fire out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That would be better than nothing and them not get the food because of that.
Yeah, and they would still have the option to trade away for the other stuff.
Yeah, even after they put it out, I'd be like searching through, is there an ember?
I don't even know if you would do that. It would be more interesting to see if they could sustain without it, and then it's all on them.
Yeah, thank you, Ed. Uh-huh. That was some awesome points.
Yeah, good stuff.
And I agree wholeheartedly.
Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Hello, Survivor family. This is Nicola from Lexington. No Jackson. We have been watching, but he doesn't get to watch until Sunday. Today is Thursday in the Bluegrass State. Everybody here is, of course, immersed in the craziness of March Madness, which I know nothing. I am immersed in the craziness of Survivor, and excuse me if it sounds echoey in here. I'm in my tub. Nice visual. I am 3 gins in. I finally watched Survivor from yesterday, and all I have to say in the fabulous words of the person who kicks us off, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye, na 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 na. Oh my God, if that man had not been voted off this week, even though I did get a vote off point, I don't know if I could have watched anymore. He was on my last nerve. I'm trying not to swear. As I said, 3 gins in. But he was so annoying. I wanted to make that hashtag go viral that somebody said last week. Hashtag not a million hearts, just a million disappointments. You took somebody's place, dude. Oh my goodness. I have no words. I have watched Survivor since the dawn of time. I have watched every iteration that has English speaking, some of the foreign ones. I don't think I've ever rooted for a player to get voted off as hard as I did for Banu. I'm sure he's a lovely man in real life, but Lord, he did not need to be on our show. I'm loving the show. Jackson's enjoying the show. Hopefully the week of spring break, which is the first week of April, we will get to do feedback and he'll be able to send it in. He's doing well, getting on to middle school soon. Anyway, we listen to the podcast. We watch the show. We love and miss you all. Hope everybody is safe and sound and having a wonderful March. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
3 gins in. That could be your new handle.
Yeah, I'd be in the floor passed out or something. I don't do alcohol.
Good stuff, Nicola.
I can't handle it.
Next up, we got an email from Justin in Michigan. Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor super fans. Glad to see Banu go home, but I felt like this episode was just an extension of last week's. Yeah, very well could have been, huh? There were some good moments on the other tribes that I enjoyed. Jim re-hiding the idol clue, Mariah attempting to learn to jump, Ben and the rest of the tribe supporting Maria, and Tevin getting his moment to clean the fish and plot against Soda were all good scenes. There was still way too much Banu. It was obvious that he would be the booed after Yanu lost immunity. Yeah, I didn't need to see a grown man beg on his knees and blame God for his misfortunes. There have been deleted scenes throughout the season, and one with Tim this week that I would have rather seen in the episode, absolutely, rather than the extra Banu content. He had 35 confessionals, which is only 4 more than Survivor 41 winner Erica. Good grief. Now that he's gone, I'm looking forward to the game kicking into a higher gear. I was going to have Soda as my vote off next week, but I think I might change it to Tim. Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say to see if that sways me. Thanks for everything, and happy March Madness to any college basketball fans like me out there. All right, good luck with March Madness. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from TitoBurrito.
Hello, Joanne, Stacy, and all of you other fellow Survivor fans out there. It's TitoBurrito calling from Boston, sometimes Philadelphia, and soon to be Lodi in Italy. And I'm mainly calling in because after the past few episodes, I didn't want to send any quick to reaction comments, but I wanted to develop a little bit with the cast because I haven't felt like we've been watching Survivor. I feel like someone else has mentioned this. I feel like I've been watching how to weed out people who don't play Survivor so that we can watch Survivor. Mm-hmm. So initially, and this one, honestly, this rant is probably more about Hunter. Initially, I had an affinity toward Hunter. You can see someone with a passion for the game who actually was taking action to find success, and the success is evident in his performance. But I've been growing a dislike for him, and it started with his way of maneuvering around camp. Yes, he's doing the silent provider who doesn't want to show his strategic side, but those facial reactions to people having joy they started to build on me. And then in the challenges, he has this very specific way about looking like he's over it, and I'm not appreciating it. Yes, for some people, they could probably interpret it as it being like, oh, it's so easy that I don't even have to grunt or grimace. I don't even have to try. But to me, it's like he's over it. It's almost like a child with an attitude doing something because they have to and not because they're enjoying it. And for someone to have such a passion, to have built these full, elaborate scale projects to be able to mimic Survivor, he doesn't seem like he's having a good time. So, and I know it could probably just be the edit, but that's really putting me over the edge for someone that I thought I would enjoy. I'm not actually liking Hunter at all this season. A brief jump away from Hunter, because I don't want to give him my whole time. The Mariah jump gate, I don't feel like that was even warranted because the challenge didn't even have what they assumed. So I think they assumed that there would be a launching point and then something to grab. And if you missed it, you had to go back again. There was no grab. There was just jump off of a large tower. So I guess it was more the fear of heights as opposed to the ability to jump. And no one expressed the fear of heights in this challenge. So that was kind of a waste of a segment to me. We could have devoted less time to crying and less time to Mariah and more time to actual behind the scenes strategy, things like that. And also, last little bit, if I have to hear about Taylor Swift one more time, end of rant on that. But back to Hunter again. I really hope that the edit changes for Hunter so that we can actually see some joy in his gameplay since he loves Survivor so much. And I would love to see him actually strategize other than letting other people strategize and then saying how horrible they are. Because right now, it's giving the energy that I don't exactly like from someone who I want to appreciate. Decent season so far. Decent because we're just still weeding out people who don't even play Survivor. And hopefully everyone is having a good time, staying happy, safe, and healthy. Peace out from TitoBurrito. Bye.
Thanks, Tito. I thought that was more Hunter concentrating. I'll have to go back and look at it and see if I can see what you were talking about there.
Well, and he does show some of his strategy to, but only to Tevin, seems like. Mm-hmm. I mean, he kind of seems to let him in more.
Right. Because he needs him.
But he kind of hides behind the, I don't care. I don't want to strategize. I don't want to, because he mentioned in some clip that he didn't want people to know, that he didn't want them to know he was smart.
Right.
And so that might be part of it, is him playing a role.
And that's carrying over into what Tito's seeing when he's in a challenge.
Maybe.
Could be. I'll look
he's
at it.
just trying to hide things.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks again, Tito. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
Hello, everyone. 4 episodes in, and this season is going pretty strong with a really fun cast. Poor Banu. He does seem to be a really nice and likable guy, but just not a great Survivor player. I do feel sorry to see him go out the way he did, but I also know it was probably for the best. I don't see the reason or the point as to why he told everyone about the journey at the beginning of this episode when he could have just left it a mystery and saved part of his game at the same time. I am glad, however, to see Yanu finally win a challenge and get something good out of it. But unfortunately, it was not a reward they could enjoy. So their other option will also help them out in some ways. I don't pay a lot of attention to these things, but the music cues from this episode work so well with the action shown in the episode. I'm a little confused as to what Jim's plan is when it comes to rehiding the Boer advantage, unless it was to cause some paranoia and chaos within her tribe. I think this will ultimately backfire on her, and she will be in a bad position in her tribe because of this. I'm getting more impressed with Hunter each episode and how he is amazing at the challenges, especially when it comes to throwing things. I think he will definitely be around for quite some time still, but come merge, he should be careful because the target could be on his back at that time. Who knows what may happen next week? But I feel like a tribe shuffle is imminent within the next few episodes. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we have a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Happy weekend. Yeah, I caught up on the recap on the episode and everything. Again, it's weird. It's like 4 episodes in, and it's kind of going through the motions. Like, when are we going to actually get some gameplay? Hopefully now, it seems like the highest of drama is probably, knock on wood, it's probably eliminated from the pool of cast, but I don't know, maybe just we've been distracted by future drama. Who knows? That's how it usually goes. But all I want to say about Banu is I was telling Julie about the situation. She's not really caught up on the episodes, but she still plays JSFL, and then I'll kind of fill her in here and there. And she put it really well, and you two kind of hit on it too when you were talking. She said he has designed a character. And I was like, that's a really good way of thinking about it, because I could not understand how a person could be this way, like how they could respond and react this way to a game that they claim they're a super fan of. And the histrionics again, and with the praying and I'm a religious person, but when you start to, in that dramatic juvenile fashion, blame God for your bad choices and your bad luck and all that. So it was really disturbing, in a way, and made me really, but also just really obnoxious in a way. So all I'm going to say is, yeah, he designed a character. It was a terrible, like a character you don't even love to hate, you just don't like. Not very good writing, let's put it that way, on his part. And you know what also kind of annoys me? I wish they had voted, because now he can probably, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes around and starts saying, hey, I was never voted out. They didn't write my name down when I was voted out. And I think they would have just said, you know what, let's go to the vote. Let's make this official, because otherwise it almost, although I guess in this way, it's almost like a quit, because if you didn't actually get voted out, you technically gave up. So I don't know. It was a messy end altogether, and just really, poor writing. I didn't like it. So looking forward to the rest of this. I'd like to see 3-on-3-on-3 in a challenge. I think that'd be kind of fun, just to see how Yanu does without him, without that negativity and that, like, literally on his knees begging and pleading in the most ingratiating fashion. So it's humiliating. But everyone have a good weekend. I'm on my way to callbacks. I got called back to summer show and see how it goes. But yeah, no idea what's going to happen this week, but that's par for the course. I think actually I Bonu's safe this week, because he's going to skate by. Somehow they're going to win, or there's going to be a switch up or whatever. He's going to be the one that you think is going to go like last week, and then he won't. So, but I'll take it. It's fine. I'm not alone in the basement, at least. So, all right. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Break a leg.
Yeah. Good luck with your callback.
Next up, got an email from Margie in Wisconsin. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I found your podcast last season, and now am back every week to hear your take on the most recent episode. Joanne, I am on the same page as you in regards to Banu. I am glad he got voted out. I had the sense from the first episode that he was over-exaggerating his emotions for the purpose of the camera.
You betcha.
I'm a Survivor fan, but I don't do any research before the season starts, so I felt pretty vindicated to find out that Banu really is an actor/dancer. I can't shake the sense that he felt this was an opportunity to get camera time on primetime TV. Mm-hmm. It's been cringeworthy. I have a ton of respect for Tiff's reaction to Banu getting on his knees. I loved Q's technique for coaching Banu. It's real and can work if someone puts in real effort to learn. Mm-hmm. I'm a Tiff, Hunter, Tevin, and Maria fan. By the way, Jeff Probst explained that Tevin and Soda will share in the ownership rights for the song they sang on the beach and possibly get royalties in the future. That's cool. It is. And was it David Vanacourt? He's the one who did the backing track, does lots of the Survivor music. Yeah, they all three are listed for that. So, and Probst said he thought they would use that clip, that song again in future episodes potentially. With the heavy focus on Banu for the past 2 episodes, my assessment of other players hasn't changed at all. Superfans do much more than binge watch every season. The amount of studying, research, and practice of some of the cast members put in before they came on the show was incredible to me. For example, practicing making fire on a beach like Jam Jam, or 3D printing puzzles like Carson, or listening to the plethora of podcasts in addition to watching previous seasons to hear about previous cast members' experiences. So I don't consider Banu a super fan. I'm hoping for a tribe swap or merge. I really don't like seasons where one tribe just gets decimated. This is the 3rd season in a row that this has happened. Is it possible that there might be flaws in the game? Has production taken the idea of no fire and no food too far, and the lack of those things causes a death spiral as early as 2 or 3 days in? This is my first time giving feedback. It probably sounds like I'm just dumping on Banu. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I just had enough of him. And I haven't yet joined the JSFL. So what does USB stand for? That's Ultimate Survivor Bonus. It's an acronym in the fantasy league. You choose someone that you think is going to win the whole season, but you have to do that before the season even starts. And so it's worth 24 points in the fantasy league, the most points of any bonus that we have.
The person we think is going to win the entire season.
Yeah. I know it has something to do with safe players. It is associated in that person would be safe all the way through. I can't find anything that specifically defines it. If you go to the JSFL site, there's a link in the show notes. You'll see a link there on the JSFL site to the JSFL rules, and it also explains all this. And it's not long. It's not a long read, I promise. Even if you read slowly, it is not a long read. I guess what happens when I join a group that's what happens when I join a group that's been around for 45 seasons. We haven't been around that long. But yeah.
Not the podcast.
For a while. Yeah, we've been going, I think this is our 37th season that we've covered. But yeah, in any case, thanks for your insights. Thank you, Margie.
19 years. We're in our 19th year.
Is it 19 or 20th? I forget when. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
Thanks again, Margie. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. And I have a bone to pick with you, too. Listening to your last podcast, I thought you did an awful lot of Banu bashing. And I have to say, Joanne, for someone who seems so mild-mannered, when you resort to violence, I can't go along with it. You said you were going to pop him, and later you wanted to slap him. And I have one thing to say about this. Woohoo! Woo! Woo! And that's a tribute to Boston Pete. I can now watch my favorite show again, and my blood pressure is not going to go through the roof. You know, that was the best 24 points I've ever lost, and I did get a point for saying he'd get voted out, and I was going to continue to vote him out until he went. Actually, I thought for a little bit that there was going to be some kind of maybe tribe shuffle and somehow he'd get saved, but it was not to be. I listened to Rob Has a podcast, and he interviewed him, and the guy just kept talking and talking. He didn't really answer the questions. He talked about his superpower and being able to read other people, and he refers to himself often in the third person, and I know that he's an actor, but I don't think he was acting. I really think that was Bono. And he says he's a super fan. I don't believe that he is a super fan because when he was so surprised that Jess voted against him, and like he said, I thought we were friends. Point. Well, Bono, you just voted her out. So all I can say is now I don't have to discuss my ex-USB again, and I won't. Not sure they're going to follow the old pattern, but I think there will be a shuffle, and I'm thinking it won't be the next episode. I think that the one after that, there would be 13 people, and they've done this before, but one person gets sent away to some other location, which keeps them safe, and that means that the one tribe of 4 goes to tribal council, and when they vote somebody off, that person comes back, and then it'll be 3 teams of 4. That's my guess. But one thing I do know, now that you-know-who is gone, the other players can get an equal share of their time on my TV screen, and I can't wait. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah, thanks,
David. But David, that's what you do when someone is hysterical and they can't shut up. Is you just pop them a little bit, either on the
out of it
on the side of the face or right between the eyes, and just go, stop it, stop, calm down, quit doing that.
Yeah, I think David's right. I don't think we're going to get the shuffle to 2 tribes. Or
I'm not seeing it
this week. For 3. It does not looking like it's going to play out that way. And Drew's going to get his wish. You're going to get a challenge where it's 3 on 3 on 3. So
from
that's
the photos.
Yeah, that's what it looks like from the press release.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I'm surprised they're not going to merge, but okay, it's something different. Let's go for it. And if they lose and it goes down to 2, well, they went down to 1 in Plow.
Yeah.
There was only Stephanie's standing.
Yeah.
So, okay. Been there, done that.
Good stuff. Thanks, David. Next up, got a call from Pat.
Hello. This is Pat from Springfield, Missouri. I haven't called in forever, but I just had to call. Bonu, for myself, these last 2 episodes were just wasted episodes. I know there was good things that happened. Hunter, of course, is amazing, but I just keep thinking that God apparently was also tired of Bonu. He didn't answer any of his prayers. And the crying, to me, when a person cries, I understand that, and I have empathy towards them, but when you cry about everything, crying means nothing. It's just a waste. Yes. And as far as him being a super fan, no, he's not a super fan. How can you be a super fan and have no clue about the game? And at day 9, to basically say, oh, maybe I should start playing, or whatever he said, is just ridiculous. He's not a super fan. I don't even know what you could call him. And I know I'm being harsh, but I'm just so tired of seeing him in these 2 episodes. And then him to inspire other Bonus, please, no. No, what's he going to inspire? To teach you how to cry, teach you how to fall on your knees and beg, or lay in the middle of the trail? Be a man, and don't embarrass yourself. And then to get his story at Tribal, oh my gosh, we've had his story, and I don't feel much sympathy for his story. I mean, even on this season of Survivor, we have 2 other immigrants. Now, maybe, yes, they came to the States when they were younger, but still, to play up his immigrant story, it's just, I don't know. I don't know the purpose and these so-called TV moments. Like, who are they for? They're not for us super fans. I don't know who they're for, but to me, it's just a waste of good Survivor airspace. And, so Brandyn apparently hasn't picked out his hot lady for the year. So I'm going to. So I'm a 50-year-old man. So I'm going to pick the hot mom, Maria. And and the bonus question, what makes a super fan? To me, a super fan is a person that's been a fan, like for me, from day 1, and I've not missed any episodes. I can't go back. I don't have a memory and go back and tell you names and all this of everybody and what happened and whatever. But Bonu's not a super fan. I guess, just not a fan. So let me just say, I drive a truck over the road. I go from Missouri to California and back every week. Survivor is amazing. I love to watch it. I usually have to watch it on my iPad at a truck stop, usually the next day because I'm asleep, usually when it comes on. But then your podcast keeps me going the rest of the week. It gives me something to look forward to, something to listen to for a few more hours, and I just love it. So thanks for all you do.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Pat. Appreciate you sharing that.
I completely agree with everything you said.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Next up, got an email from Chris in Alabama.
hi, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. I've been dragged down all week from a really bad cold.
Bummer.
Get better, Chris. Just finished the episode Friday night, and now that I see Banu is gone, the fog seems to have lifted, and I'm feeling a lot better.
Oh, you had the Banu flu. It wasn't a cold at all.
Honestly, I'm surprised Jeff didn't pull a tribe swap to keep Banu, in the game a little longer. I mean, a lot longer. But maybe he'll get a Boston Rob do-over, which really means 3, 4, or more.
Oh, jeez.
I enjoy hearing what you all have to say every week, and I love this community. The comments and voices of the fans are nuggets of nourishment. Aw, I like that.
Yeah.
Joanne and Stacy, you are Survivor legends for all of the love and commitment you provide to us to enjoy. If any two people deserve colossal heads, you've earned them. I'm sure your neighborhood wouldn't mind. Have a great week, everybody. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Cracked us up.
Up next, we got a call from Brandyn.
Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus washed, when Jeff Probst washed, when all the fans watched Banu go away, oh, happy day. Oh my God, I am so happy that season 47, episode 4
46.
is over. I was on the fence by episode 3. I thought Banu was still somewhat entertaining, but man, they gave us so much. It was just like, it's not even too much of a good thing sort of situation. This isn't Troy and Community eating the giant cookie thing where I was really, really enjoying that cookie up until this point, and now I'm just sick to my stomach. It's just, you gave us so much of this mediocre television and downright bad Survivor play, and I am just so glad to be moving on in season 47, because there are a lot of players left in this season that I am very much looking forward to seeing more of, maybe learning who they are for the first time now that this giant elephant of Banu has been removed from my screen. I feel bad for Banu as a person. He seems like a nice guy, but man, he should not have been on this season of Survivor. And Jeff Probst being all defensive about it just makes that even more true in my mind.
Yeah.
I am curious where we go from here with the Siga tribe, with this gem treachery, deception sort of deal. It seems like a risky move, I will say. It looks like the target so far is going on to Tim because of it. But you know what? I don't know that Tim wouldn't have been the target anyways if they were just going to go to tribal council at this point, just because of episode 1 and the alliances that we've seen built so far on the Siga tribe. Also, the soda thing, it feels a little bit like a misdirect, like maybe it's going to be one of those things where they're just setting up the fact that most of their tribe was looking forward to maybe trying to get rid of soda before the merge, and then they are just unable to do so. I could see soda getting into the merge, similar to last season where we've got one tribe that's just ready to just drop somebody right at the merge. Maybe that'll be this season's drop there. Curious what happens, but we could also just see Yanu lose if the Survivor producers just hold to what we're at and they just send them back. And then I don't know where Tiffany's at, because I feel like a lot of the confessionals we've gotten from Tiffany have been the hypothetical producer questions of, well, what if this happens, or what if this happens? And then they just use that to make it seem a little bit less assured. But I could see Tiffany dropping Q at this point. Seems like maybe a smart move. Can't wait to see the next episode. Excited for the rest of the season. What a happy day.
Oh, thanks, Brandyn. That reminded me, I was going to say this when Pat was talking, and I could so totally see Tiffany as Banu drops at her onto his knees, just grab his ear and yank him up from there get up off your knees right this. I thought I could totally see her do that. She handled it better than doing that.
Than you would have, yes.
Than I would have probably. But the other thing that I wanted to point out is that it does concern me, Prope's attitude, because this is exactly why he kept bringing Johnny Fairplay back. Is he's like, but people love to have somebody to hate. They enjoy it.
He doesn't think people hated Banu, though. He doesn't think that there should be a negative reaction. He says, that's your fault. You don't get the game if you didn't like what we did with Banu.
I think,
and you would never be cast on the show because you're not your authentic self if you don't recognize the value in what we've done by casting Banu.
Well, did Probst get hit in the head or something? Was there something we didn't see?
He's had this.
Yeah,
his version of storytelling is different from a lot of us.
Yeah, but, I remember him when people were so frustrated about seeing Johnny Fairplay, and Probst is like, yeah, everybody complains about him but they watched the show to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's the TV moment element.
That's wouldn't, I don't think, happen with Banu, because there's only so much of that I'll watch, even if I have to fast forward.
There's a resiliency in the fan community in spite of these storytelling choices, and that's what I hear. This is the theme that's all through the feedback show today.
Yeah.
Is this resiliency in the fan base? They're like, okay, that's over, and we're going to get to something else.
Now we can move on.
Thanks again, Brandon. Next up, we got an email from Shahin in Australia. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope you and all of the Survivor fans are well and safe. Another written communication this week. Too busy celebrating my 33rd birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag. About all I remember. I'll be honest, the whole Banu arc has been a bit of a downer on the trajectory of this season thus far. I know there are great players in this season, but the casting of Banu has completely overshadowed everyone's gameplay. I found it disturbing that Jeff found Banu and his predicament as fascinating and captivating. I'll tell you now, it was borderline sickening seeing someone who was clearly not fit for the game being toyed around with for days on end. He was belittled at every opportunity. Production had to do so with their cuts, and his tribe mates did not help in how they were around him. Jeff and Matt, please cast people appropriate for the game and not for your own weird benefit. It detracts from the quality of the game we all love and enjoy. Hopefully we see those great players start to shine in the next few weeks, especially with the expected tribe swap. I still think Tim is in trouble, and if I had remembered to put my picks in for this week, it would have been him. Anyway, that's me done. Hope you all have a good week. Hope you have a great week too, Shahin. Thanks.
And happy birthday.
Next up, we got a call from Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Christine from Hawaii. Aloha. She just returned from her spring break trip, so it's my turn with the feedback this week, which is fine with me because I got some things to say about this episode in regards to Banu. I'm just not buying the performance. It was very put on and over the top, and it was almost like he was really expecting someone to kill him instead of just being voted out of a game. Geez, it's like the sobbing and the whining and the begging. It was so embarrassing, and poor Tiffany could not take it. She was so uncomfortable when he was begging for his life. It was like really awkward, and it was hard to watch. But what is strange to me is the way Jeff defends his choice of Banu to be on Survivor. And you can hear what he has to say on his On Fire with Jeff Probst podcast. But he doubles down on Banu having a compelling journey and a story to tell, and that Banu was so authentic and real. But I have to disagree, Jeff. Banu was clearly performing, he was acting, his Survivor journey was boring because it was so repetitive, and what I really wanted to see was more Soda and Tevin campfire songs. Next week on Survivor, I predict some kind of tribe switch up. I think they'll be doing the same as last season with everyone switching. So maybe 4 players on 3 tribes with the leftover 2 players joining the 2 winning tribes. And that will make it extra difficult to predict who's going home, but maybe I'll pick Kenzie as a tribute to Banu's residual chaos. Anyway, can't wait to hear what other fans have to say. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Christine. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Thomas in Toronto, Canada.
This season seems to be getting harder and harder to enjoy and doesn't really seem like the Survivor that it used to be. When is Jeff going to give up on taking the flint from teams and not giving them rice? Hopefully, after what Banu said tonight, comparing their camp to what it was like when he was poor in India, helps Jeff realize that people don't want to see this on their TV while watching people playing a game. I really hope that people don't brand Banu as a quitter because there was no actual vote and he couldn't convince the rest of his tribe to not vote him out. All right. Thanks, Thomas. I think it was a verbal vote. It was a vote. It was just a verbal vote. They're like, it's not even worth getting up and going and writing it down.
That's one way to look at it.
We've already determined it. It's a verbal vote. Don't waste our time. He's going.
Yeah. I think that's essentially what that expedient choice was all about. It's like
he was voted out.
Let's not give this person who played this way the benefit and the honor of a formal vote.
That too. That works for me.
It's another way to consider it. Thanks, Thomas. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joe and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. That got really uncomfortable watching Banu beg for his place in the game and not to be voted out. I went from feeling sorry for him just to pity. That was really uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure he was one of the ones that applied with his partner, and the partner was the biggest Survivor fan, but Banu got on. If I was the partner, I would be a little bit cheesed off sitting at home watching how Banu's played it. And he's right, he is a nice bloke, but he's just not suited to play Survivor. I really think that casting need to stop putting players like this on it. It's just not good TV. What was good TV was Gem's move, although I don't know that that's going to do her the world of good, but it was fun to watch everyone looking for the idol. Hunter is putting a big target on his back, and if he keeps up such the physical performance that he's doing, he won't last long in the post-merge. I've left it late this week, so we'll keep it nice and short. Thanks for everything, Joe and Stacey. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Happy days. Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here with my feedback on the episode where Banu finally gets voted out of the game, which I know makes a lot of fans happy. I'm just annoyed that I didn't go with the obvious pick and pick him to go home. What I thought was really wild to learn was the fact that Tiffany and Q were actually considering keeping Banu. Thank goodness Banu is so bad at the game, he wound up telling them what he had said to the other tribes. Otherwise, this episode could have been even more disastrous for that tribe. As for Banu himself, my mind has not changed. I really do like when Survivor cast over-the-top big characters who are terrible at the game. It usually gives me something to laugh at, cause a little bit of emotions, good and bad, and I get to see how other good players handle working with them. The main issue with players like Banu is motivation, and I blame casting for this. In my opinion, the main thing they should be looking for is people who want to win the game. When you have a player going around talking about how they want to win millions of hearts over millions of dollars, that tells me everything I need to know about that player. It's true that Banu has a beautiful backstory that can be extremely motivating for many people, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But these things should come out naturally throughout the process of the show in the game. It shouldn't be forced upon us by telling us that that's what you're there for. When it's done naturally, it comes across much better. So go out there, play your hearts out, and if you can motivate people by your backstory, then that's great. I know we said this before, but in the end, we just need casting to remember that they are trying to find people to play a competitive game and not be part of an emotional talk show. Now, what I want to talk about is this 3-tribe format. Should we abandon it for a while? Once again, we have another tribe that is being demolished. And you know, when you think about the history of Survivor, usually the worst tribes we ever have are the ones that are in the 3-tribe format. I just think we should, it's just not great television. I really think we should go back to 2 tribes and see how that goes for a while. The other one thing I wanted to say, which is not a popular opinion, I don't know if I really like Jem's move this week. To me, I don't see a great reason to bring light to your tribe that there is an advantage out there. This could have backfired on her. But luckily for her, it looks like maybe she'll be okay. Don't get me wrong, I love that she's playing hard. So, who's going to go home next week? Well, like I said, thanks to Jim, I do think Tim is in trouble on that tribe, so I definitely would consider him for next week. It seems hard to imagine that Nanu is going to ever lose as long as Hunter's there, but if they did, I still think Soda's probably the one to go out there. And then if Yanu actually goes back, I wonder if the girls will wind up getting rid of Q. I think it would be a great move for Tiffany because they already think that her and Q are a pair, and everyone thinks that Kinsey's the mastermind. So I think it would be really good for Tiffany if she's just there with Kinsey. What do you all think? All right, well, that's it for me. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Yeah, we talked about that in the recap, and I absolutely think that's both Kinsey and Tiffany's best shots take Q out.
Yeah, I would want to see it play that way. It'd be interesting to see if Q could work his magic and swing Tiffany back towards Kinsey again.
I don't think he's got that much magic.
You think he might have spent it all
in
the
just
previous
don't
run? Because it looked like he was really close to keeping Banu over Kinsey, and he had Tiffany in on that.
Too. Yeah, I guess he did work magic that way. But
the other thing I'll say is that I think Tiffany is smart enough that if she felt any heat coming her way, she's going to play that idol, and she's the only one in the game that has it.
That's right.
But I think that she will, in her own words, sense that the block is hot for her, and then she's going to save herself. So I don't think she's going anywhere. So if you haven't gotten any safe votes off her, this would probably be a good week to take one.
I do not remember if I have or not. So.
And it is going to be interesting to see if that bites Jim. That is so risky, and
it is
such a choice that could define your game. It could be such a huge part.
She is playing with fire.
Yes.
But I like the part about whether it's a good move or not. I like that she's having fun and enjoying herself. She genuinely seems to be having fun.
She's not wasting her 9 days at all so far.
No, not at all. She's having a ball. So it's like, okay.
Good stuff. Yeah, and this next challenge, I think it could still be anybody's challenge. So we'll see. Thanks again, Jeremiah. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacy, my cable provider finally dropped the Banu channel. I need to send them my thanks. It does feel like it's been that, doesn't it? My other observations. Banu is an actor. Survivor was his audition for the soap As the Stomach Turns. To avoid have-not tribe mat singings, I'd like to see rock draws for challenge sit-outs. Okay. Got the dual there. Banu wanted a miracle. It's a miracle he lasted this long. No, let's see. I got to back up and see if I can do this right. Na 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 ma stay. I didn't get it right.
Namaste.
Namaste. That's what I'm missing. You do it.
Namaste. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Perfect. Moving on. Banu expecting reassurance for doing something wrong was like a dog pooping on the carpet and then coming over to be petted. Wow, what a superior categorization. He certainly pooped on the Survivor carpet, didn't he? Jim knows that if you have fun at your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Floating platforms are Tim's kryptonite. Never mind Sia money. Charlie's angling for free tickets to Taylor Swift concerts. Yeah. Well, and he tweeted after this last episode, he said, look, the Eras Tour had just kicked off. I'd gone to the concert. I was still really stoked. And so it was really fresh for him at the time.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Wherever Hunter tosses stuff in a challenge, it bodes well for Nami. What's the point of having a food reward that one tribe can't eat? Great question. It's a great example of how they managed to get things backwards, isn't it? It was handy that Tevin's dad taught him the right way to clean and roast fish. When Banu was struggling with the tarp, I thought Kinsey would say, "No, your other right." Siga didn't put an ounce of blame on Maria. The ton she put on herself sufficed. While getting coached, Banu's face looked like he had been asked to learn quantum physics. Like Maria, my parents pushed me to be great. Now I'm great at telling bad dad jokes. Yes.
All right.
You have succeeded. Siga says, Jeff, don't lie. He must have turned back time to undo the hourglass debacle. Yeah, exactly. And Jeff tried to give examples of how he didn't lie in the past in his podcast this week. But there's definitely been some lies that have happened. Sure. But he has publicly apologized for the turn back time hourglass thing now. So I got to give him that. Banu, please make up your mind. Are you a dumb Dumbo, a robot, or a puppet? Tim is a schlamazel. Schlamazel. If someone spills soup, he's the one who gets it dumped on him. Okay. Banu's, he does have that hangdog kind of look, too.
Light bulb.
Banu's light bulb finally lit just in time for his torch to get snuffed. Nami ran out of food to cook in their pot, so they cooked laundry instead. As long as it wasn't Tarzan's underwear. If others put effort into you, you should make an effort too. Face palms hard. I don't think Soda's Gotta Goda will be the B-side for Fiji Food Song. Actor Banu auditioned to play Kaiser Soze. He obviously didn't get the part. Every time Mariah tried to jump, I was afraid her feet would dig trenches instead. Why did Yanu blame only Banu for losing immunity when Q flubbed his shot to win it? I've been thinking about that too, though. If Banu hadn't goofed the platform, remember how he had to go back? He had to swim back and get up on the platform and drop off? Yeah. That might have given Q, that might have been enough time for him to get another shot in and win.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah. Hunter channeled NBA legend Rick Barry when he shot those balls into the nets. He did indeed, didn't he? I went through the 7 stages of grief when I had to watch Banu go through them, and the editors did that on purpose. They completely had that in mind with that sequence, according to what Probst was saying. Did anyone notice that Jeff gave the idol to Venus, who gave it to Soda without a fuss? Yeah, I saw it. I've been watching that. The producers didn't hide another idol for Banu. They couldn't find a neon sign in time. If Siga had dug any deeper looking for the idol, they might have struck oil. Maybe, according to Carla, they struck something else. When Banu got down on his knees, I thought he was proposing to Tiffany. Future challenges may have teams crawl through nests of giant stinging ants. Banu, when Jeff says dig deep, he doesn't mean to dig your own grave. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a great epitaph right there. While Venus swept with the broom, she was dreaming of sweeping Soda out of the game. Yanu could count on Banu for lots of things. Strategic gameplay wasn't one of them. Next time, Yanu loses their minds. Jim denies moving the idol clue, and Jim sprints down the path. Will Siga lose immunity and activate Jim's Beware idol? Could be. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Killed it. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And I want to start off my feedback by saying I'm so happy with the results of this last episode. So starting off at the top of the episode, oh my gosh, Banu's rewriting of history was just cringy. Why would he fess up to all that he said to Liz and Ben? And the way he told the story made it even worse, making it sound like they were asking him all the questions instead of him just vomiting all the information to them. And then when they were upset, he asks, did I say something wrong? Seriously? He just blew up their game. Of course there's something wrong. I can't believe that he was demanding that Kenzie tutor him in survivor skills the way that Q did. If he is such a super fan, he should not be claiming that he doesn't know how to play Survivor and has to learn the game. It doesn't make sense. And I will never understand Q's investment in Banu. The only thing I can think of is that he was trying to keep Banu loyal, but he put in so much useless work. When you're trying to conserve energy out there, that's a lot of pointless effort that you're making. I mean, I wouldn't be mean to Banu, but what Q was doing had to be exhausting. At the Sega tribe, Jem is making everyone dig into an anthill. Now, I don't know how wise it was for Jem to hide the beware advantage clue the way she did. If Mariah and Charlie were not as astute as they were in figuring out that the clue was probably already found, Jem was going to be in some real trouble. Can you imagine if they had to go to tribal council and Maria, thinking that she didn't have a vote, would go into the voting booth and actually find out that she has her vote? That would cause chaos, as she might try to explain to production or something that she doesn't have a vote because she has the beware advantage and she lost her vote. I mean, how would they work out that kerfuffle? Anyway, I don't think that was really thought through very well. And that actually is what I thought was going to happen, because I didn't realize that the reward challenge was just a reward challenge. I'm so used to challenges being for both reward and immunity that I thought that Sega was going to tribal council. I was filled with new hope when I discovered there was a separate immunity challenge. Just a final thought, though, on the beware advantage. Do you think we will ever see someone feel safe enough to throw a challenge in order to get the hidden immunity idol and get their vote back? The fact that you don't get another clue for the beware advantage until you lose an immunity challenge is almost tempting the player who has it into throwing a challenge because they may be desperate to win back their vote and get a hidden immunity idol. Do you think we'll see somebody throw a challenge to do that? Anyway, other random thoughts about this episode. I like Tevin's tribute to his father. I have a love-hate relationship with the backstory moments. The fact that all three Yanu said that Banu needed to be voted out instantly made me think that that wasn't going to happen. But then it became the Banu show. I didn't like that we wasted so much screen time on Banu's hysterical reaction to being the target of the vote. But now that he's finally gone, I'm looking forward to getting to know several of the other players better. And by several, I don't just mean 7. There are a lot of players I'd like to get to know, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the game evolves from here. That's it for me. As always, I'm looking forward to hearing everyone else's thoughts. Till next week.
Awesome.
But Jen, it's part of the word.
It's the prefix, isn't it?
Yes. Jelinski. Okay. He's gone too, though.
No wonder Jelinski thought that he was really super celebrated within the context of this season's cast, because the people who showed up after him, they didn't really know what was going on. And you could totally see Banu blowing smoke for Jelinski, and Jess wouldn't have known what really happened until she got caught up on her sleep anyway. So
yeah, I don't know about it would be difficult for someone to throw the challenge to get the idol if they're not telling anyone. They would have to be in a position to throw the challenge, and that might be not happening.
Oh, sure. Their tribe may have decided they should sit out this time or something.
Just right.
But what did you think of her question, though, in terms of will we see someone try that? I think we will.
I think we could, for sure.
I think someone will. They'll go, this is the big brain play that I'm willing to make. Someone will try that.
Well, no one has it on NAMI, and Tiffany's already got it, so the only one would be the Sega tribe right now with the beware advantage. Mm-hmm. So it would be Jim or nobody right now.
So that was, I really like that point that Jen was making, how it could go all wonky when Maria thought she had to stop and explain to production that she didn't have a vote. But Maria actually does have an extra vote, which means that she was in the best position to pick up a beware advantage because she lost her vote, but she had a vote. So it's a wash for her.
No, I think if you lose your vote, even if you got an extra vote, you can't play either one.
Okay, I know you can't play your shot in the dark.
You can't play your shot in the dark. You can't play any votes. You don't get to vote at that.
It's a total cancel out? Okay.
I think it is.
That fits more.
That's my understanding.
Yeah,
so,
no. And it very well may be this very confusing situation that Jen was just describing if they end up going. Interesting. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana again. You know, I was expecting another bummer of an episode, but I fared better this week. I don't know, maybe it wasn't as unappealing to me because I was braced for it, or perhaps because it ended in the best possible way for me. You know, I'm never going to forget Nunu because he's easily set a new low mark in the game for me. And I couldn't help but realize that Banu constantly goes on about how everyone is playing the game so hard and that people are masterminds. And I don't want to take easy pot shots at him, but the fact is that he's so incredibly naive that of course everyone out there appears to be a mastermind to him. I just don't understand why he was cast. Even Kenzie couldn't figure out why he was out there, and she's the biggest mastermind of all. Well, at least he didn't quit, but honestly, I think his departure was kind of like a player suicide, and I just can't believe that all of that was an act. I've read through his exit interview, but it was a hard read for me, so I'd inevitably end up just skimming to the end of his replies. He came across as very unaware to me, and his answers never really connected coherently. He claimed to have bonded with Jess and that he talked to Q all the time, but then in the next answer he complained that he was all alone and no one would talk to him. Whatever. Goodbye, good riddance, and thank you Q and Tiffany and Kenzie. Now I'm turning the page, so moving along. I found that Tim has a bit, but just a bit, more gameplay in him than I thought because he was smart enough to let Maria take all the blame for losing that challenge. It had to feel good to see everyone focus on her while he just faded into the background, and I commend him for knowing when to keep his mouth shut. And then there's Liz, who can't eat anything, and to be honest, I'd completely forgotten about that. So how has she been surviving out there? She's got to be eating something, right? This just has me puzzled, and I sort of wish we saw a little bit of it because she's been out there a long time now. And Charlie, I like him more and more. He's really not what I expected, and he's performing much better than I ever thought he would. But then there's Jim, and I just don't know what to make of her replanting that idol box. Without thinking it through, I quickly thought, wow, she can get the key, take the idol, and no one will suspect. But yeah, it doesn't work out like that in real life. People even started being suspicious right from the start. But luckily, Tim seems to be taking the heat for all of this, so hey, that's working out in her favor anyway. But to be honest, maybe I'm giving Jem a little more credit than I should be. First of all, because she's my USB, and second of all, because it's putting a target on Tim, who I'm neither here nor there about. So, yeah. Oh, and did you notice Venus sweeping up with a broom around camp? I was honestly impressed that she was doing something, and then I thought, oh, no wonder she dislikes Hunter so much, because I'm pretty sure he made the broom, and that she thinks he did it so she could be his cleaning lady around camp. And I like Hunter, but he runs off and curls up like a doodle bug whenever he hears someone singing, and he kinda looks miserable while he's doing that, so yeah, not a good look, Hunter. As for who's leaving next, I'm thinking and hoping that Yanu actually wins immunity this time, and that either Tim or Soda goes. I'd hate to see Soda exit the game, but after what Randon said and what we saw this week, she is regarded as a huge threat. Myself, I like her for all the reasons that her fellow tribe mates are suspicious of her, and because I'd rather see Venus leave myself. Plus, I love Soda's singing. So, for me, it's between Tim and Soda, and possibly Venus, but I'm not making up my mind until I hear the feedback. Everyone enjoy the next episode. Catch you all next week. Bye.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. Good job. Well, we have paid the BCT, I hope. I think
the
we're
BCT?
Yes, the bad casting tax.
Oh, okay.
I think we have paid that. I think last season there were more surprises, at least in incompetent players, not quitters. But there was another string of incompetent players last season that we wrestled with.
The same thing. 3 people, 1 tribe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
frustrating. But then.
So 3 seasons in a row, we've had
now that's behind us.
Right, we've had to pay this bad casting tax, and it looks like there's potential here, that there's some rich veins that we'll be able to mine in the remainder of the season. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It'll be interesting to see if the Yanu 3 can hold it down. This could be a challenge for them. Like I said, this is one of those challenges, and to their credit, we're not puzzling this season. Outside of that initial one that they had to do to build the steps. So there's no puzzle changes everything at the end kind of scenario that's been going on, and I don't think that's going to change in this next episode either.
Well, my concern is we can kind of see what the challenge is, but I don't know if one person can do most of the challenge or if they all have to divide it up.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, Yanu, I think, could lose again. And I would say Q going home.
Uh-huh.
But if they can just let one person do it, then he could win that for them. So.
Or Tiffany could.
Yeah, absolutely, Tiffany could.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was her.
But I don't think Kenzie's strong enough to do that.
Usually when they do the slingshot challenges like that, there'll be 3 different distances for the target that they have to hit, like to knock the flag down or break the tile or whatever. So she could potentially
so if they,
catch the close
she had
one.
to do the close one, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
There's a
and
potential.
that is possible for them to, I think, win that if she doesn't have to go too far. But I just don't think she's strong enough or heavy enough to really get that back for anything that's too far away.
Right. Yeah.
But you're right. That probably is the way it is.
Yeah, I think maybe Siga could do it. I'm wondering if Nami will be able to do it, depending on who they put up. So, yeah, we're going to get Drew's 3-3-3. It looks like there'll be a journey, and then there'll be that challenge. Maybe there's 2 challenges. I can't tell for sure.
I think Soda could do it. I think Tevin could do it, and I think Hunter could do it. You know, they would obviously give Hunter the one furthest away, and Tevin the middle one, and Soda maybe or maybe Soda the middle one. She's done really pretty good in challenges, I think.
Yeah.
She seems really strong.
Very competent. She's been a surprise. I thought the weather and the heat, and I know as someone who carries extra weight that puts an extra burden on you when you're
absolutely
exerting yourself in the heat and humidity.
You know what
but
the
she's
difference is?
Performed really well.
She's young.
She's way younger than me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you as much when you're young.
Right. Yeah.
We've forgotten that.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good point. At 2-3 times her age, it has a much deeper impact on us than her. Well, she's doing great. And I'm like Paul, I would love to have her around if we get more songs like that too. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was good.
That's a different part of the
I'd
entertainment
like to go back
aspect.
and re-listen.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yep. So like I said earlier, there's a theme in the feedback show, at least to me, that I felt that we extracted, is that in spite of these bad casting choices and Probst and company's just broken idea of storytelling, to me, it's
just making me upset with them.
Yeah, and this broken storytelling mechanism is rampant in Hollywood. It's destroyed the Marvel franchise. It's messed up Star Wars in TV and movies.
They're doing movies over and over and
You
over.
saw the knuckleheads, the Davids that messed up Game of Thrones when they had to do something on their own and not use the other story content. There's like tons of people in Hollywood that have lost the thread, or maybe they never had it. But to think that this was something to be celebrated and so featured seems so out of touch. Like everybody was saying, look, we're here to watch the gameplay, and we just want you to cast people who want to play the game, not who want to tell a story, that want that wanted adventure, we want people who show up to be a part of the game, and the game's multifaceted.
He had
it's
a
deep
story.
and rich.
He has a story.
It's just got nothing to do with Survivor.
That could have helped people, but because of his acting and I don't think
delivery.
I don't think it did what he really wanted to do.
Right. Show, do, and then that part follows if it's there.
It's like he lost his message.
I saw something in the Survivor subreddit this week, and someone described these backstory things as trauma dumping. And I thought, that's the perfect phrase for this crap. Whether it's America's Got Talent or American Idol or The Voice or Survivor.
Excuse me?
There's trauma dumping they've decided is the way to craft a story, and it's got no business in this. Like the natural thing where Tim's feeling homesick in that deleted scene.
That was very genuine, and it was touching to me.
Tevin explaining about how his dad had taught him to fish and how to clean fish.
Yep.
It just naturally flowed through there.
Yes.
And it's a byproduct of what they're going through. It's not forcing that trauma dump. Like, I did not enjoy the Maria thing at all. That seemed forced, and it didn't seem, it was just seemed totally unnecessary. I have, from an immigrant family, and I was held to a high standard, and after
I
she
that
lost
was genuine.
Yeah, it's genuine, but it's like to me, it just didn't work. It crosses over for me into that trauma dumping. This is my trauma. This is
No, it didn't. It didn't for me. That
Okay,
was totally
that's-
childhood. It is childhood trauma, but that's real.
It is, but I don't know that you got to make it part of your, part of what's happening on Survivor. Everybody has these kinds of things that, there's bad things that have happened to a lot, or just hard things. That's life. And, anyway, all of it. Stop the trauma dumping. You're not storytellers. Cast people who want to come play the game and let that, and like Parker's so fond of saying, let the players play, and then share what happened with us when you've set those constraints up. That's what we really want. And I'm looking forward to that in the rest of this season. I love the resiliency of the fans. You can hear that in the feedback this week.
And
they're
Parker, where were you?
This happened. This has happened. This is how this season started. We had bad starts on the previous two also. Let's see if we can find...
Well, let's put it all behind us.
In spite of that, this game, and the reason we keep watching the show is because it can give great actual story elements as the result, that we can watch people who succeed. And it's going to be fascinating to see if Kenzie Q and Tiffany can overcome this, because that's just that they were saddled with the first three that were so awful that they've had to pay this, carry this extra burden, and it's been wrecking them. And then someone actively working against them, all that, like Jeremiah was saying, it is fascinating to see how they deal with it. Can they overcome it?
Okay. I am going to tell you who I think from each tribe, if they go to tribal.
Oh, goes? Okay.
Yanu, it will be Q.
Yeah.
If it's Siga, it will most likely be Tim. Could be Ben, but I'm thinking Tim. Nami, I think it will be Soda.
Yeah? You don't think she can rescue herself and flip it back on Venus?
Not if she don't know it.
That seemed pretty strong, the energy against her, that Tevin was building.
I don't think Hunter, Liz, and Tevin are going to tell, and they're going to keep it close to their chest. And I don't think she's going to find out about it. I think she's going to go in to a tribal and they're
convinced that it's Venus. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that she's not at all concerned. And she's going to get voted out.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my pick.
Yeah.
What are yours?
I think that's pretty reasonable, too. Soda, Tim, and Q.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions today. We really enjoyed it. We appreciated it. And we appreciate your resiliency and sharing all your different perspectives. Love hearing from all of you. Also, big thanks to Ed and Hope for your donations. We greatly appreciate your support. That's huge. That kind of commitment to the show helps make sure that the content's there in the off season too. And from time to time, we hear from people who just find us, find the podcast. I went back and listened from 2005, and I've been listening all summer and binging.
Never do that.
Yeah. Brandyn is someone who had done that, who had been listening and catching up on the seasons and listening to all your analysis and enjoying that. So thank you again, Ed. Thank you again, Hope, for your donations. We deeply appreciate that.
And remember to make your week 5 picks for 1 person voted off and 4 people who you think will be safe at the end of the episode. Shahin, Drew, don't forget. Anything else?
We are good to go. We're looking forward to the next episode on Wednesday. We'll be back then with a recap. Have a good one.